We began the trailer with the swinging of the chains in slow motion. This idea was taken from the film Orphan. The film Orphan has a very similar concept to our own, and so it gave us lots of inspiration. However, we wanted to develop the ideas, and so we added the song, which was sang quite like a nursery rhyme in a soft, childish tone. This added to the eerie feeling in the trailer. As with the use of the song, we were able to tell a story in a very different and creative way. We also broke typical conventions because we chose to have the song to be sung a cappella, as there wasn't any underlay of music that typically feature in horror films. Also, we used the doll as a representation of our main character. We imitated the bruises on the doll to match the ones of Misty. This added to the element of fear to our trailer, and as other films also use dolls, we were able not only to imitate a real media product, but to develop the ideas with the use of makeup. Horrors are typically quite fast-paced. However, in our trailer we have chosen to slow things down a lot more. We decided to do this because we wanted to challenge the typical conventions of fast-paced horrors, and so using Final Cut Pro we decreased the speed in most parts of the video.
The combination of the teaser trailer, magazine and poster is effective as it needs to hold a house style. For our ancillary text, we used Jyoti, the main character of the film, as the main focus so that our audience could relate to her. For the magazine, we took inspiration from Empire's Joker and Batman special. We used the colour schemes of red and blue, the red to enhance her bruises and the blue to enhance the feeling of the cold, death and ice. We also took the close-up in order to focus on her face and create a dark, eerie feeling.
We decided to use the font handwriting on the magazine to attract the reader's eye and to differentiate the film's title from the rest of the fonts used. We used this particular font because we wanted the writing to look quite childlike to match the ideas of the film. We put the barcode in the corner to make sure it didn't detract from the main focus of the magazine. The use of our barcode made our ancillary text look like a real media product. At the top of the magazine, we added a competition. This is a typical convention of a real magazine, and also the competition links the magazine into the time of the month we wanted it published. On the cover of our magazine, we talked about some of the things that would be included inside, such as interviews with the main character. This gives the audience an opportunity to find out more about a film and its characters and different actors. We decided to add made-up titles of other fictional horror films. This added authenticity to our work. We chose the title Backseat as it was relevant to our target audience ages 15 to 21, as teenagers and young adults tend to choose to sit at the back of the cinema. We used a specialist font as we believed it fitted in with the horror theme that ran throughout our magazine cover. We put the price and the release date in a small font so it wouldn't take away any attention from the main focuses. We chose to release in October to coincide with Halloween. For the main image, we changed the brightness and contrast to achieve a solarized effect. We also liquefied the bruises to make it seem more swollen. This added intensity and a horror feel to the cover. We used a high-angle shot to make Misty seem inferior. We once again used the liquefying tool to intensify her injuries. We changed the brightness and contrast to make her seem even more ghostly and pale. We used big block text to attract the reader's attention. Also, we used quite pale and cold colours to represent death and pain. We created a catchy tagline so the audience would remember our film. However, we made the tagline text smaller so it wouldn't detract from the main image. We used the program Final Cut Pro to manipulate our footage. We began by using image control settings to change the brightness and contrast to make the whole trailer look darker. We did this because it follows the typical conventions of a horror film. Also, it gives the trailer a more darker and sinister feel, which is a key element in the horror genre. We overlaid 2 images so Misty would flicker. This is to represent the fact that she is a ghost, a figment of the supernatural. We also only see the back of her as we didn't want to reveal the front of her too quickly. Also, we used speed controls to slow down specific parts of the video. We did this because we wanted to keep it quite slow paced. However, in some scenes the speed increases dramatically to add tension. We took homemade sound effects and used the program Audacity to manipulate and enhance all the sounds, including the voice in the song to intensify the feeling of fear. We used the Gaussian blur effect to make the world seem disjointed and a corrupt place. I also used this effect because it was the first time we was about to see the character's face, and I wanted that first viewing to be very disjointed and fuzzy. We also used a specialist text taken from Final Cut Pro. We created quick, threatening sentences that would instill fear into the audience. We used a two-shot that showed both Misty and the doll. This allowed the audience to see the similarities between them and their injuries. We started off with a long shot and increased the speed as the camera ran towards our main character. We ended it in a close-up shot which allowed the audience to see the severity of her bruises. This particular technique added to the tension and fear.
I thought it was really good. I liked the soundtrack, the little song. I thought that was really effective with the genre you're trying to portray. It was really catchy and it's still like playing in my mind. I thought you did really well with it, like you really portrayed the horror genre, and yeah, it was really good.
What would you think could make it better?
Maybe if it was shorter.
I liked how they use exaggerated lighting instead of using a dark setting, which is often used in a typical horror movie. Teaser trailers are often seen as dark, like The Orphan, even though they've used a similar lighting to that, but they've changed it by focusing all the lighting on the subject, showing her significance in the trailer. I also like how they've used a variety of shots, from long shots into using fast forward effects right up to a close-up, showing the makeup in the close-up creates some more of a sense of horror, and they've shown the genre throughout the whole of the teaser trailer.
So what do you think could make it better?
I think it would be better if during the fast forward scenes, if it was speeded up slightly, and there's one scene where she's on the swing, if that was slightly extended, just to give more of a sense, more of a more parts of her on the swing than her not on the swing.
Was I stupid? Was I mad? What else could be mine? But he
Misty is actually a really, really good video. I really like all the makeup that's been used. There's a lot of effort that's been put in. You know, it's got a lot of attention to detail. The makeup, the lighting, and the music, you know, all the sort of sound effects, they all really convey and portray the horror genre really well. And I think that's something that's used quite strongly in the video of Misty. Well, I think if I was to say something could be better, it could be maybe the lighting could be a little bit darker. It's already quite dark, but I think just to give it that little bit more of a sinister and quite, you know, scary feel, I think maybe a little bit more darker. Also, maybe try and have maybe some clips of the actual violence that we're trying to portray within the storyline. Maybe something just to add a little bit more energy, maybe make it just a little bit more interesting for the audience as well.
Thank you.
I just want to say that I personally really enjoyed Misty. I thought the lighting worked great. It kind of had like a 50s, 60s feel to it. And I also thought like the makeup she had on was really good. It made it look more dark, more gothic, and it also represented the genre that I think they were trying to convey. I really liked the music as well. I don't know if I said that before, but it was really good. It was like kind of down and it was kind of mellow, but it was kind of creepy, and also reminded me of that kind of childhood, sinister theme that I think they were trying to portray. And as an audience watching that, I felt kind of a lot of tension and suspense because I wasn't sure what was going to happen. But overall, I thought it was really good and I really enjoyed it.
We also put our trailer on a social networking site so we could generate a larger audience. This allowed us to see other people's views and opinions, people who weren't necessarily our friends.
From our audience feedback, it is clear that people enjoyed our soundtrack. This has given us some insight into how important music can be in a teaser trailer. As critique, we have found out that people believe that our lighting could have been darker in order to stay with the theme of horror. We did not want to make our lighting too dark, as we feel that it would have decreased the quality of our teaser trailer. However, we have now realised that it may be convenient in order to stay with the convention to make lighting darker. Another critique we had was that people believed that our soundtrack could have been clearer, and we will make sure to make a note of this next time.
We took inspiration from a video from YouTube. This clip taught us how to apply makeup to create a bruised, beaten up effect. We watched the clip a number of times and tried our own makeup trial to test the makeup we bought and to see if we could emulate the same beaten up effect. For the costume, Misty wore a white baby doll dress. This is to represent innocence and purity, which is a big contrast to her dirty, bruised, beaten up face. We also chose for her to have her hair in pigtails, and this was quite childish, and we wanted to keep the character looking as young as possible. As although she has grown physically to the age of 17, mentally we wanted to portray her as still thinking she was 3 years old.